The greatest myth in the WNBA dump has officially been exposed. The myth of all myths, the deception of deception. For the better part of 2 years, maybe even 3 years, the mainstream media has been trying to convince us that Angel Reese is a huge star.
Angel Reese proudly and unapologetically crowned herself as the new face of the WNBA, stepping into the spotlight with bold confidence and the kind of swagger that demands attention. She's been vocal about her impact, her influence, and her ability to draw headlines both on and off the court. There's no denying her popularity, her charisma, or her marketability. She's become a household name, a frequent topic in sports media, and a social media sensation. But when the All-Star voting results were announced, something didn't quite add up. Despite all the buzz, despite the viral moments, despite the constant media presence, Angel Reese didn't even come close to cracking the top 10 in votes. So, what went wrong? How can someone with so much hype and self-declared leadership not earn enough respect from fans to land among the league's most celebrated players? The answer might lie in the numbers. Through all the headlines and all the attention, her on-court performance tells a different story. Shooting just 30.9% from the field is not only well below average, it's statistically one of the worst shooting marks among all qualified players in the WNBA this season. For a player claiming the league's crown, those shooting numbers are hard to ignore. In a league packed with elite talent, where efficiency, skill, and consistency are celebrated, fans and analysts alike are looking beyond social media moments and catchy quotes. They're watching the game, they're studying the stat sheets. And what they see is a player still struggling to find her rhythm offensively, missing shots at an alarming rate, and falling behind other players who are simply more productive when it matters most. Being the face of the league comes with expectations to perform, to lead, and to dominate. Right now, the stats suggest Angel Reese is still chasing that standard. Her story is far from over. She's young, she's hungry, and she's driven. But if she truly wants to match the image she's projecting, she'll have to start backing it up on the scoreboard. Otherwise, the gap between her popularity and her production will only continue to grow, and all-star votes will remain just out of reach.
Well, the first returns are coming in on the WNBA All-Star voting. Of course, it will be in Indianapolis. And as you can imagine, Caitlin Clark is leading the All-Star vote. By the way, it looks like a massive turn.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark wasn't just showing up in the All-Star voting. She was absolutely dominating it. While other players were fighting to make a name for themselves on the list, Caitlin was in a league of her own, racking up over 515,000 votes and leaving everyone else, including Angel Reese, far behind in the dust. It wasn't even close. It's like Reese forgot the voting had even started, while Caitlin was already sprinting past the finish line. The gap between them wasn't just a difference in numbers, it was a statement from the fans, loud and clear, about who they believe is truly leading the charge in the WNBA right now. Caitlin's impact isn't just about her scoring, her logo, threes, or her clutch performances. It's about how she's captured the imagination of basketball fans everywhere. Whether you're a seasoned WNBA supporter or a brand new fan who tuned in because of the Caitlin Clark effect, there's no denying that she's become the heartbeat of the league this season. Every game she plays draws massive crowds. Every highlight clip racks up millions of views. Every mention of her name ignites conversations across social media, sports talk shows, and fan forums. While Angel Reese was busy calling herself the face of the league, Caitlin Clark was quietly, or not so quietly, building a movement. Behind her, fans didn't just watch her, they showed up for her, they voted for her. They rallied behind her with unmatched energy. This isn't just about all-star selections anymore. It's about who's truly resonating with the basketball community at large. The fans have spoken, and they're speaking in record-breaking numbers. If you're one of the many who believe in Caitlin Clark's greatness, who love what she's doing with the Indiana Fever, and who want to see her continue to rise, don't stop now. Keep voting for Caitlin Clark and her Fever teammates in this year's All-Star Game. Let's make sure the player who's changing the game gets the recognition she deserves on the biggest stage. And when you're done voting, jump into the comments and drop baby goat over baby giraffe to show where you stand in this growing rivalry.
Be honest. Second straight year that Clark has led the fan voting. She was second in early returns in fan voting in 2024, but jumped to first with around 700,000 total votes by the end of the period. So I'm wondering, are we going to see 1 million votes this time? because I saw somebody earlier that said, so far, voting is actually way up versus exactly where we was at this time last year.
And this is exactly where the entire narrative starts to completely fall apart. If Angel Reese is truly the name that everyone's been promoting, if she's really the face that the league, the media, and the marketing machines are all pushing front and center, then why are the fans pushing back so loudly and so clearly with their votes? That's the uncomfortable question no one seems eager to answer. Because if we're being brutally honest, Angel Reese has been absolutely everywhere lately. You can't scroll through your social media feed, flip through sports highlights, pass a billboard, or even sit through a commercial break without seeing her face. She's plastered across every platform, every outlet, and every brand campaign that wants a slice of the WNBA's growing spotlight. She's become a media magnet, a marketing goldmine, and a constant headline generator. But despite all the screen time, all the public appearances, all the celebrity handshakes, and all the viral quotes, the fans, the real heartbeat of the sport, aren't fully buying into the story. Their message is written right there in the voting numbers. While the league might be working overtime to position Angel Reese as the next big thing, the fans seem to be quietly but firmly saying, not yet, her game hasn't caught up with her fame. That's the core issue, because while her presence is undeniable, her production on the court is impossible to ignore, and not in a good way. Shooting just 30% from the field is historically low for someone being pushed as the league's next superstar. In fact, she may go down as the most heavily promoted 30% shooter in modern basketball history. That's not just a stat, it's a contradiction that's starting to crack the foundation of the narrative being built around her. It's almost as if the louder the marketing gets, the more the fans push back by quietly casting their votes elsewhere, toward players whose impact isn't just about what's trending on Instagram, but about what's actually happening between the lines. Players like Caitlin Clark, who aren't just in the spotlight, they're earning it night after night with record-breaking performances and game-changing plays. So while Angel Reese's face might be everywhere, from TV screens to TikToks, the reality is starting to set in. Visibility doesn't automatically translate to credibility, and popularity campaigns don't guarantee fan loyalty. The fans see what's happening on the court, and no amount of branding can hide that. Until Reese's production starts matching her promotion, the gap between what's being sold and what's being delivered will only continue to grow. And if the votes are any indication, the fans are perfectly comfortable choosing substance over spotlight.
Caitlin Clark has 3 times the amount of votes. 3 times the amount of votes as Angel Reese. So, there you go. I suspect Sophie Cunningham's numbers are going to grow after what we've seen. Somebody said, I saw some things online about they sold $1 million worth of Sophie Cunningham jerseys, and something in the neighborhood of 12,000 all went out one day.
The media didn't just cover Angel Reese. They practically turned her into a case study in modern sports branding. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't casual. It was an all-out, fully coordinated campaign to elevate her beyond just being a promising young player. Major outlets, from Forbes to the biggest names in sports media, lined up to crown her as the engine driving WNBA growth, the cultural icon, the face of the new era. Forbes didn't just praise her game, they positioned her as the reason the league was thriving. Some sports talk shows went even further, pushing the narrative that Angel Reese was single-handedly carrying the WNBA into mainstream relevance, as if she alone had cracked the code to overnight success. It was as if the league's entire marketing playbook had been rewritten around her image. Articles, interviews, think pieces, all carefully crafted to push the same story. Angel Reese isn't just a player. She's a movement, a savior, a game changer. But here's where it got interesting. Some of these glowing features didn't even bother to mention Caitlin Clark. They completely glossed over the fact that, while Reese was being celebrated as the future of the league, Caitlin Clark was out there quietly dominating in the present. While the media machine was spinning tales of Reese's marketability and off-court impact, Caitlin was on the court, casually pulling up from 30 feet like it was a layup. She wasn't just playing well, she was breaking records. Game attendance records, jersey sales, television ratings, all skyrocketing wherever she went. It wasn't just hype, it was history happening in real time, and somehow, in this massive wave of Reese-centric coverage, those facts were often buried, downplayed, or outright ignored. It's almost like the media wanted a specific story to be true, even when the evidence on the hardwood told a different one. They were more focused on building a brand around Angel Reese than telling the complete story of the league's most electric rookie. And that's the part that doesn't sit right with a lot of fans. Because while Reese was undeniably a cultural force with massive appeal, Caitlin Clark was out there doing what actually builds a league, winning games, filling arenas, and changing how people watch women's basketball. The selective coverage, the lopsided narratives, and the omission of Clark from major stories didn't go unnoticed. Fans saw it, players saw it, and whether the media realized it or not, this bias began to create an unnecessary divide. One player being pushed, one player being produced. Angel Reese absolutely deserves her flowers for what she's brought to the sport, but pretending she's the sole driver of WNBA growth while ignoring Caitlin Clark's record-shattering influence is just lazy storytelling. The truth is, this league is big enough for both of them. But you can't rewrite the facts to fit the headline. Clark's impact wasn't a side story, it was the story. And no amount of carefully curated branding could erase that.
Some in the media even do investigative journalism and claim that Angel Reese is the face of the WNBA because she leads the league in followers on social media, along with missed layups and a complete lack of athleticism. Of course, the vast majority of her followers are bots and lonely men, most of which are not buying tickets or watching her games on television because they can't afford the 5 pesos a month to watch the Chicago Bravado on WNBA League Pass.
And the WNBA, though, they were all in on the Angel Reese phenomenon. The league didn't just support the narrative, they turbocharged it. The WNBA's official social media accounts were relentlessly pushing Reese's highlights, hyping every rebound, every putback, every moment, as if she were the second coming of a basketball legend. She wasn't just getting attention. She was getting the kind of primetime screen time that even established all-stars could only dream of. While other players were grinding for a few seconds of highlight reel exposure, Reese was practical. Lie. On a 24/7 media loop. It wasn't just about game clips either. Angel Reese was everywhere. Interviews, magazine covers, high-profile podcasts, late-night shows, you name it, she was booked. It honestly felt like she had a blockbuster-level media schedule. Like she was starring in the latest Marvel movie, not just playing her rookie season in the WNBA. Every brand wanted her. Every platform wanted her. Every storyline seemed to revolve around her. It was an orchestrated push from all directions. A full-speed campaign to make Angel Reese the league's centerpiece, the must-see player of the moment. And Reese? She leaned into it hard. She embraced the spotlight. She welcomed the attention. And she told the world with full confidence that she was the reason people were watching. It was a bold, gutsy statement. In her mind, she wasn't just part of the WNBA's rise. She was leading it. She said it publicly, unapologetically, staking her claim as the league's new face. But here's where things get a little complicated. While Angel Reese was standing tall, declaring herself the center of the basketball universe, the actual numbers, the television ratings, the ticket sales, the social media engagement were telling a different story. Because despite all the league's efforts, despite all the media buzz, the majority of fans seemed to be tuning in for someone else. Caitlin Clark was the player consistently breaking viewership records, selling out arenas, and drawing national headlines for her game, not just her image. It became a strange disconnect. The WNBA's promotional engine was running at full speed for Reese, but the fans were overwhelmingly showing their support. Elsewhere, they were voting for Caitlin Clark. In all-star ballots by the hundreds of thousands, they were following her, watching her, packing the stands for her games. While the league's cameras were focused on Reese, the fans' eyes were locked on Clark. This isn't to say Reese doesn't have a massive following, she absolutely does. But the league's near-exclusive spotlight on her seemed to miss the fact that viewers weren't just following hype, they were following performance, history, and undeniable impact. And that's what Caitlin Clark was bringing every single night. Her story wasn't being manufactured. It was unfolding right in front of us on the court. The league made a bet. They went all in on Angel Reese as their headline star, but the fans made their own choice. And the gap between what was being promoted and what was actually resonating only grew wider. It's a perfect reminder, you can market a star, but you can't force a fan base. Performance still matters, results still matter, and sometimes the player the league thinks will carry the brand isn't the same player the fans are already following.